Welcome back to another Photoshop tutorial. In this video we're going to be talking about layers and specifically how those work. So we talked a little bit about them in our last video, but we're going to touch them to kind of a higher level here today. So what you're going to do first is you need to open up an image of a celebrity, whether it's the one from CMS that I gave you or whether it's one that you find online. So find an image of a celebrity and we're going to kind of give them a makeover here. So if you remember from last video, to open a file, all we need to do is go up to the File tab and click Open. And then from there we can locate a picture that we want. I'm going to use Daniel Radcliffe here and then click Open, and that will open my image in the Photoshop document. And you might get a pop-up menu that asks you to click OK. Just click that if it's not letting your image pop up. What we're going to be doing in this video, like I said before, is we're going to be giving our celebrity kind of a makeover, and we'll learn about layers throughout the kind of makeover process. So what we're going to do first, our first step for this makeover is let's go up to the Layer tab up here and click New, and then go over to Layer. And then we get this little dialog box that pops up. For this first layer, let's name it Hair and click OK. And then you'll notice in our Layers panel over here that now we have our background image and then a layer called Hair, and it has this transparent background. So if I were to hide my just background image, you'd notice that it's just transparent. If I click the eye again, you'll notice that it shows back up. If I were to hide this layer, you really can't tell that I'm hiding it because it's a transparent layer. What we're going to do on this layer is we're going to color in our celebrity's hair using the paint tool or paintbrush tool. And then we'll show you how we can make that look realistic. So let's go over here and find our paintbrush, and we'll select that. And then next, let's select a color. So we'll go over here, and we have the option to change the color. I might make his hair blonde here, so I'll choose a yellow that I like. Let's go a little wider and click OK. And realize that this color that you select is not going to be the actual color of the hair. It's going to probably lighten up a little bit or darken up a little bit when we add some different effects. And then the next thing that you want to do is change that brush size so that it's a size that you like. Size 9 is going to be a little bit too small for me right now, but 28 looks like it works. And what all I'm simply going to do is just go over his hair here and just color it in. If for some reason I make a mistake and go onto a skin for some reason, all I need to do is click Control and then Z as in zebra, and that's going to remove that previous brush stroke that I made if I do make a mistake on here. So I'm going to go in and color in the rest of his hair. If you need to zoom in at all to be a little bit more fine with it, just use that magnifying glass here and click Zoom, and then you can use your brush tool to kind of touch up the finer areas. So you can pause your video to get kind of caught up with me here, but I just ended up coloring the rest of his hair, and just at first looks it doesn't look good, but I'm going to show you kind of a trick that's going to allow us to make this hair color look a little more realistic. So if we go over here into our Layers section, we have the option to set the blending mode for this layer. So if we click this drop down menu, we have a variety of different options. I typically like to stick with the overlay, hard light, or soft light, but you can see there's a variety of other different options in here. If you click these and kind of play around, you can see that it changes up the hair color and it makes it look a little more realistic. So that overlay looks a lot better than just the yellow that we had on before, and that soft light doesn't look too bad either. Another way that we can kind of change up the hair to make it look a little more realistic, or with any of the layers, is to change the opacity. So right next to that drop down menu that we were just on, we have the opacity section in here, and if we drag to the left, it's going to make it look a little bit more, or it's going to make it more transparent. So you can mess with the opacity and the different blending modes there, but ultimately your hair is going to look more realistic as we mess with those sections. And you can see here when I hide this hair layer how dramatic of a change it is. And you'll notice that when I hide it, okay, it's only hiding that yellow brush stroke that I used over his hair. Okay, so that new layer we applied allowed us to change his hair color, and if for some reason we messed up on that or we didn't like the way that that looked, we could simply delete this layer out and add a new one. We wouldn't have to start completely from scratch. So that's really the purpose of layers, and what we're going to do next is we're going to work even more with our layers. So let's again go up to the layer drop down menu. We'll click new and layer again, and let's name this next layer eyes and click OK. Once we have added this new layer called eyes, we're again going to go back and make sure that you have your paintbrush selected. We'll go to our colors option and we're going to change up the color. I'm going to go just make it kind of look different and use maybe an orange or red. You can choose whatever color you want, and I'll click OK. And then again, we're going to need to change our brush size, so you'll probably need to go a little smaller on this. And if I just take my brush and just click a couple times over the eyes, I can kind of get the majority of those filled in. If you want to use your magnifying glass and get a little finer with it, you can. But just for the sake of this video, I'm going to stick with just filling it in from afar. And then again, if we go over to our blending section here, we can change the drop-down menu. We can choose from a variety of these different effects that we have. So I could do the overlay, I could choose hard light, or I could choose soft light. The soft light again looks like the best option. If you wanted to change up the opacity, you could do that as well. So I just finished up my celebrity makeover here. You can see all the different layers that I used. So I whitened up his teeth a little bit here, as you can see. Made the beard a different color. Touched up the hair a little bit more. If you want to mess with anything else on your celebrity, feel free, but use the remainder of class to work on using the different layers to give your celebrity a makeover.